Red October has come and gone, but with Team Toyota's home field advantage, you'll score even more savings this offseason. Choose from our winning lineup of new Toyotas, like Corollas, Camrys, RAV4s, and Highlanders, all in stock for immediate delivery. Or ship over 200 certified used Toyotas with MVP pricing to deliver quality and value. And when it comes to service and collision repair, our team gets you back in the game fast. So visit us in Langhorne, Princeton, or Glen Mills, or take a swing online at teamtoyota.net. It happened, Phillies fans. It happened, and there's news to talk about. Bob Cooney, welcome in to the Phillies Talk podcast. You are listening to the Phillies Talk podcast presented by Team Toyota. I am Spencer McKercher once again, joined by Bob Cooney down here in the winter meetings in Orlando. And Bob, we're sitting there, we're listening to Scott Boras, and I got the camera, and all of a sudden I feel my Apple Watch going nuts. Something's happening. So I finally take a look at it, and I just see somebody at work say, hey, Kyle Schwarber's there. We're back. And it's the news of the day, really. And Edwin Diaz tried to trumpet it afterwards, but we have something to talk about. And it's Kyle Schwarber returning on a 5-year, $150 million contract to return to the Philadelphia Phillies. Your first takeaways of the contract, and really not surprising.
No, not surprising. Number about where we thought it was going to be. I think we mentioned those exact numbers over the last couple of days. Good to hear. It seems like he may have had some similar offers, maybe exactly the same offers from reportedly the Baltimore Orioles, but Schwarber wanted to be here, and the Phillies did what they had to do to get him here. Now the real puzzle pieces have to start falling. You know, does JT Realmuto come here? If not, where do they go that way? Are there trades to be had? Where exactly does this team go moving forward? You have the big piece that you were looking to get. I guess he'd be big piece number 2. But now we'll see where it falls, right?
Bingo. And this was plan A all along. Yep. Plan A for Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies brass and Preston Mattingly and even Rob Thomson was bringing Kyle Schwarber back. So plan A is accomplished. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprised at the reaction from Phillies fans, because I feel like 50-50, maybe even 60-40, it was, hey, bring him back. They got to bring him back. But now they sign on. I've seen some of the YouTube comments, and I've seen people comment on all across social media, and they're not that happy that it happened. But I don't know how you can't be. You can't replace 56 home runs and an NL leading 132 RBIs. You can.
I guess the feeling among fans as well, they've tried it 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and this looks like it might be the beginning of the horrible phrase that Dave Dombrowski doesn't like, and that's running it back. Look, they want to sign JT Realmuto. They want to bring him back. So there's your foursome right there of bringing it back, and I'm just talking offensive, not pitching, and that's Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto and Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, and very well those 4 could be back. So maybe that's what the people are looking at. That, well, it hasn't worked before. Why don't you go a different way? They keep saying things are going to be different, even if those 2 are come back, even if they do sign Realmuto. They keep saying, Rob Thomson, Dave Dombrowski, no, things are going to be different. So they must have something going on that we're not privy to, a bigger picture type of thing. I don't know what it is, but I guess we'll see some differences.
Maybe. And that's still time to tell, because there's still a lot of offseason left. We have one more day here at the winter meetings down in Orlando. But I don't know, man. I was so happy that it happened. And I don't necessarily think I was getting worried that it wasn't going to happen. And it sounded like it was either going to be this week or next regardless. But then you come out and you hear the Orioles matched it. That they offered the same contract, 5 years, $150 million. It comes out that the Pittsburgh Pirates, 4 years for $120 million, was never going to get the deal done. I saw a report that the Mets was at 3 years, $120 million. The Reds, obviously, really, in my opinion, was the biggest threat, but they offered 5 years, only $125 million. It was never going to get done for Kyle Schwarber. And then again, it's still not official yet. We're still waiting for the Phillies to do it. We couldn't really get a lot of answers from Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thomson today when we were in the suite. But I'm happy with it. And I think as Phillies fans, you have to be happy with it, because Dave Dombrowski really alluded to, they could talk about Schwarber. They can't talk about the contract, but him and Rob Thomson today we heard from Rob Thomson at the podium, and obviously we heard from both in the suite. They both credited to how big, and this is not a surprise, but how big his leadership is on this team. And that's to no one's surprise, really.
Yeah, and I keep alluding to this, how strange, how somber, how deflated that locker room was when they lost to the Dodgers out in Los Angeles. And it was, like I said, we've been around many locker rooms on the last day of a season. And I have many, many times. And it was just different. Like there was a sadness. We asked Kyle Schwarber a first question, and his lips started quivering. Like he almost was brought to tears over the end of the season. Now, Rob Thomson has said that it could be because they were so close. They felt like that was the team. But there's also a bond, a closeness. There really is a togetherness with these guys that hasn't led to a World Series championship. But, you're talking, 56 home runs. You're talking 132 RBIs. You're talking about the MVP runner-up. I don't care, name, age, whatever. That's tough to lose, no matter where you are, and they avoided doing that.
They did, and I'm glad they did, and I can't say it enough. And like I said, I don't think it was ever not going to be a reunion with the Philadelphia Phillies, but now here we are, where Plan A is done with. And I think when it's all said and done, he's sitting at 347 home runs. Over the next 5 years, I think he's got 153 left in him to get to 500, which would solidify him into the Wall or the Hall of Fame. Now the question becomes, I think, obviously a World Series trophy needs to come to Philadelphia, but I think when it's all said and done, Kyle Schwarber will be a Wall of Famer in the Phillies organization on that brick wall back there, don't you?
Yeah, he'll join the likes of Mike Lieberthal. But of course, I think he's already there now. Yep. I mean, runner-up MVP, what he did last year, what he's done. He's averaged 47 home runs a year with this team. We've seen nothing like this power-wise since Ryan Howard.
Bingo.
And then before that, probably a Mike Schmidt. So you're talking three pretty big names there. What he's done has been pretty fascinating. And, looking at all the numbers and stuff today, his first 2 years with the Phillies, I think his combined batting average was 207. And now the last 2 years combined, it's like 242, something like that. I have the numbers written down. But he's improved as a hitter. He's gotten better. He walks more. We see the clutchness of him. It's a designated hitter. It's not somebody that's in the field every day. But those numbers that I threw out before, how do you not bring that back? And I think the interest is, and you and I've brought this up to you, do they keep him in that two-hole slot where, yes, he had the unbelievable success last year? It sounds stupid to even think of removing him from there. But when you talk about an Alec Bohm batting fourth on this team, I think you got to change some things up. And I do start to wonder if, and Rob Thomson said he's been toying with the lineup in his head. I wonder if he's your four-hole hitter.
I don't know why he wouldn't.
I guess, right?
And the whole thing the last few seasons is he's an on-base guy. He takes the walks. But then they're avoiding pitching to him to get to Bryce Harper, to get to Trey Turner. You can't have that. You need those guys to get on base and have Kyle Schwarber come up with the power and the productivity to come through at big moments. And he has multiple times over his Phillies tenure. And now we get to see him for 5 more years. I don't know, man. It's I'm really happy. Really happy. I
mean, he'll start the season at 33. He'll end this contract at 37. Rob Thomson said, look, he's in the best shape of his life. And we've seen the body transformation with Kyle Schwarber since he's been in Philadelphia. People still look at him, like, oh, he's chubby or whatever. If you were to see him in the locker room, and people don't get that chance, the guy is fitter than fit. I mean, the guy is just solid muscle. He's not the fastest, not whatever, but don't question his ability to go out there and swing the bat 4 times a day. Right. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Can he do it for the next 5 years? I don't doubt it now.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. And it's funny too. So now about the contract wise, our good buddy Corey Simon had this tweet today. So the 2 contracts that the Phillies signed with Kyle Schwarber total $229 million over 9 years.
Right.
So that's an average of $25.44 million per year, which is identical to Bryce Harper, who's getting $25.38 million a year. So when you put those two in perspective, really, two great players and two very similar contracts and two well-deserving contracts.
Yeah, and those guys are all locked up. And when you count Trey Turner also. So now you have three guys, older guys, veterans that are going to, and they're probably in their careers here in Philadelphia.
I would hope so.
The thing is, how do you build around them now? And does assigning JT Realmuto restrict you from building around them in different ways? Because you're going to need money to do it. You're going to have to make some trades. You're going to have the luxury of being able to manipulate a lineup or create a lineup around those three guys that are going to be here for a while. And it's incumbent upon them now. I don't know. Is Alec Bohm a trade bait? Is Bryson Stott destined to be here? Others in the mix. They have to improve that outfield. I mean, that's just not a major league outfield right now. And they have to get better there. So, we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, this piece falling into place is good.
And we've said it all offseason. He was going to be the first big domino to fall all across baseball. So we see Edwin Diaz literally 20 minutes later sign a 3-year, $69 million contract with the Dodgers. Sorry, Mets fans. He's gone. I don't know if you're happy about that. I think I'm happy about it to get him out of the division a little bit, but
but to the Dodgers, she was going to the American League,
right?
But depending on which Edwin Diaz we're talking about,
exactly. The Edwin Diaz of 3 years ago, or the Edwin Diaz of the last 2 years, where he's kind of felt a little bit of a decline. But now I'm getting the sense that, at least talking to some people around here, and you kind of feel it coming, hearing Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thomson talk today, it sounds like they are optimistic. And I think that there's a deal for JT Realmuto happening tomorrow and or Thursday. I get that sense.
Interesting. I think they want Realmuto back.
100%.
But I also think that it is going through their minds, and everything goes through their minds. Like, let's not kid ourselves. They do this 24/7. We sit here on a podcast for 10 minutes. The future is bold, and JT Realmuto is going to start as a catcher next season at 35 years old. And Dombrowski talked about it. Well, there's just not many catchers. Not many kids come up catching. There's not many out there. It limits what you can do, and there could be worse things than JT Realmuto, but how does that affect the rest of what you can do? That's something that they have to think long and hard about, and I'm sure they have. And if they don't sign him, I know they have backup plans. I don't know what they are, but again, we'll see how that plays out and if it's beneficial to sign him or not.
And the catching market, as we've hinted on multiple times, it's not great right now.
Right.
There's not a lot of options on the catching market, and even with your catching market currently, Garrett Stubbs and Rafael Marchand, it's not great.
No.
However, I still think, I feel it. I can feel it in my bones that I think something happens either tomorrow or Thursday because, like I said, their plan A is executed. I think 1A in those plans is to bring back JT Realmuto. I think now that they got Kyle kind of done with, they're going to shift their focus to JT and getting that deal done. But who knows? Who knows, right? It's the winter meetings. It's here. Everyone's trying to shuffle in and around of everything, and we'll see what happens. But the other big news of the day is, again, the Phillies like to, kind of compound their news together. Rob Thomson extended to 2027. Well-deserved. And again, I see the comments on social media, and there's a lot of backlash to that too, and I just don't get it. He takes this team to 96 wins consistently. He's won back-to-back NL East titles. Yes, the team has fallen short multiple times in the postseason. That's not necessarily on him. Has he made some questionable decisions in the offseason, especially last in this past off or the postseason? Yes, of course he has. He's a human. But I think the man for this job is Rob Thomson, and I think he feels the same way.
Oh, absolutely. And, you're talking about a guy that spent 27 years with the New York Yankees, right? So we talked to him today, asked him about the contract extension, and he looked me in the eye and said, there's nowhere I'd rather be. There's nowhere I'm going to go when I'm done. This is it. Yep. And this is the place for me. He loves the organization, loves the players, loves the front office. And you're right. It is hard to understand. Instant gratification is what this world's about right now, right? Sports doesn't work that way all the time. And sometimes it takes time to build. And Rob brought it up many times that last year they thought was the year. That kind of gives me a little spook, like, well, where do you look at this year? And I think I asked him in one of our interviews, I said, well, where do you feel about this team? If last year you felt was the year, and he said no, he still feels really good about this team. You have some things that play out. Obviously, what they get from here on out, Zach Wheeler's health, what happens with Ranger Suarez, Andrew Painter, so many questions. Last year they probably had more answers going into the season than they have this year. Than questions. So we'll see how it plays out. But the JT thing I think is going to be very interesting.
I think they bring it back, and I think it's tomorrow.
Okay.
I think Wednesday, keep an eye out for JT Realmuto returning to the Phillies, just because I think, like I said, I think they want to get these two things buttoned up quick. They got one. I think might as well just go after this next one, kind of button everything up and go from there. All right, quick ad break. Our friends from Phillies Sports Strips on the other side. There's some other rumors swirling the trade market, starting to heat up maybe a little bit. The name Ketel Marte is out there. Then we'll talk on Dave Dombrowski's availability in the suite on Tuesday. There's some interesting comments, not a whole lot, but there were some. So that's coming up right after this break. Sean Kane, the holidays are right around the corner. Do you need some holiday gift inspiration?
Who doesn't? Absolutely.
Well, escape the cold and catch the Phillies in Clearwater with NBC Sports Philadelphia and Phillies Sports Strips. We're teaming up to bring fans the most unforgettable Phillies spring training experience yet. This trip includes Phillies game tickets, beachfront accommodations, round-trip travel, all-inclusive tailgates, and much more. Plus, appearances from Larry Boa, Charlie Manuel, and NBC Sports Philadelphia's own Ben Davis.
Wow.
Can you imagine Benny down there with the fellas?
That's a party. Charlie, Larry, and Ben down there. I mean, sign me up. It looks like an awesome trip.
You and I will be down there. Book your trip today at phillysportstrips.com.
Hey, Bob Cooney here with Phillies manager Rob Thomson down here in Orlando, Florida at the winter meetings. And Rob, congratulations, a contract extension for you today. How's it make you feel?
Very happy. I think everybody knows my feelings about the city of Philadelphia and this Phillies organization, and I'm extremely happy for the opportunity that I get here because it's a lot of good people, a lot of people pushing in the same direction to win a world championship, and that's our goal.
I brought up to you before about the locker room after the loss to the Dodgers last year, and it just seemed like it was more than just a season-ending loss. Like there was a lot of emotion going on in that locker room. Why do you think that was? And we talked to you about that after the last game. Why do you think that was?
Well, 4 years in a row we've been knocked out and gotten close, but so I think there was a lot of frustration. I think that this year was particularly a year that I think everybody felt like we've got this is a really good shot at winning the whole thing, and just came up a little bit short. We got beat by a good club in a good series, but it was heartbreaking for everyone, more so than any other year for whatever reason. But I think it's just because of the fact that it's been 4 years in a row where we got close and didn't get it.
So now you move on to this next season. Obviously, some big free agents on your team. Some reports talking about one of those free agents might be close. Just what does a player like Kyle Schwarber mean to this club, mean to you moving forward to next season?
Well, I think everybody knows how I feel about Schwarber. I love Schwarber. Not only is he productive, but he's got that leadership chip that not many guys have. He's great in the clubhouse. He's great in the community. I just think he's a wonderful man, and I just love him.
If that piece does come into place, does it still mean there's still so much more to do, or does it kind of make it a little bit easier that the plan is in place?
Well, I think there's a lot of work to do. No doubt about it, because you got plans, and if you sign one guy, you got plan A. If you don't sign him, you got plan B. If you don't sign three guys, you got plan C. So there's a lot of ways to go, and then you got to execute it. But there's still a lot of work to do.
So you mentioned that last year's team, it felt so close. Do you have the feeling with this year's team also going in, or do you have to see them first of all, and obviously build the team during these meetings and during the off season?
No, I think it. I still feel good about the closeness of the group, because no matter what happens, the bulk of the core group is still going to be here, and it's a really good group. They have a lot of fun. They prepare. They compete, and they want to win.
All right, you said that there was nowhere else you'd rather be, and nowhere else you're going to go except Philadelphia. So we'll see you here through 2027, and maybe beyond. We'll see.
That's it. Thank you very much.
All right, you got it. Bob Cooney here with Phillies manager Rob Thomson down in Orlando. Phillies still looking to do some more to fill in some pieces this week at the winter meetings.
Welcome back to Phillies Talk, presented by Team Toyota. Bob Cooney, Spencer McKercher down here in the winter meetings in Orlando, just in case, if you're listening, you didn't know. Dave Dombrowski said a whole lot, but a whole lot of nothing, really, on Tuesday. We talked to him. All the writers went up there again in his suite on Tuesday, and he talked for about 35 minutes. And my main takeaway, and you mentioned it right before we went to the break, was Zach Wheeler. He was asked, do you think Zach is on that 6-month plan or that 8-month plan? And he said, we're not going to rush it. Whatever the doctors say for Zach Wheeler, that's what we're going to go with that. But it is funny. He brought up the funny story about how I guess he saw him right sort of as the season ended. And Paul Buchheit, the head trainer, just said, hey, Zach, show him your scar. Yeah. So that's the last time Dave saw him. He just showed, or Zach showed Dave his scar. But good news, I think, in the Phillies front. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Zach Wheeler until maybe post All-Star break, just because I think they let him take his time with this entire, getting back into baseball shape and kind of getting back on his feet. Yeah,
I mean, it's not your typical injury, right? So
not even a little.
It's surgery. It's a life sort of injury.
Bingo.
It's not baseball, so much related. So that's first and foremost. Taking your time at his age and how many years he has on that arm and all that stuff. Absolutely no question about it. Knowing Zach Wheeler the way we kind of do, of like, he just wants the ball every 5th day, and that's him, and that's what he does. I go earlier than you. I do. I think that 8-month mark will probably be hit in my mind. I'm not saying I think he'll hit that. And pending, hopefully, he's totally healthy. His spring training will probably come a month or so after everybody else's. So there will be that build-up process. I don't know if there's atrophy anywhere because of the surgery and not being able to do some things. He's going to have to build all that muscle back up. But, we'll see how that plays out. And look, very, very much needed a good Zach Wheeler for this team to have real World Series considerations.
Zach Wheeler being on the mound is, I think, the best thing that could happen to this Phillies team in 2026, in my opinion. As soon as he gets back on the mound, he doesn't need to prove himself any longer. Zach Wheeler, in my opinion, is the best pitcher in baseball. And when he's on the mound, it's lights out consistently. Yeah. And once he gets back and returns, it's just kind of going up there for the Phillies. Some other interesting comments from Dave. He was asked about the platoon situation. There's potential, 3 positions really. They had second base, they had third base, and they had the outfield. He was asked about going into this season, is that going to be a thing? And once again, a name that came up was Otto Kemp. Yeah. They have not stopped talking about how great Otto Kemp is. And Dave kind of alluded to it today about, hey, what he went through in those injuries this season, he's one tough son of a gun. And those are Dave's exact words. But going into 2026 now, in my opinion, I don't think you can have a platoon necessarily, because I know it's a different time. And he brought up the red machine, the Cincinnati Reds and all that stuff and how it's different. But I think in 2026, you have to have a solidified outfield and a solidified third baseman.
I would love it, and a solidified second baseman. I wanted to ask. We ran out of time, but I wanted to ask them. We were talking about patience and what kind of patience they'll have with the young kids if Crawford comes up and all of those different things. Oh, patience, patience. And I will ask this before we leave this week. Well, why not have more patience with a Bryson Stott or a Brandon Marsh in facing left-handed pitchers? Why not give them a shot? They talk about closing their eyes and just letting the younger players go and see how it all plays out. Well, I would do that with younger veterans and those 2 guys particularly, see how maybe they can improve against left-handed pitching. Maybe the team doesn't think they're everyday players. Right. I don't know. But you can't go 3 different positions. I mean, you're talking about maybe left field, maybe center field, maybe second base, maybe third base. And and that outfield, I just think that is the one little black cloud over, I think, the Phillies in these meetings is, this is the outfield that you're thinking of going with a Justin Crawford, a Brandon Marsh, and
any other center fielder,
whatever, and Kemp being a guy out there. So there's got to be a big bang had for that outfield, I think.
And I think that's in their plans. I think they have to address it. And I think Dave Dombrowski has not really come out and said it, but I think that's in plan B, in my opinion, of attacking the outfield, attacking possible third base if they do go away from Alec Bohm. But Dave brought up Alec Bohm again today, and it's not surprising. They're very high on Bohm, and they bring up the averages. And we've seen the comments on YouTube bringing up his 280 career average and all that. But again, in my opinion, when has he come up in a big moment?
Yeah. And okay, Alec Bohm defensively has gotten a lot better. And I'm okay with him defensively at third base. But then it came up again this, Alec Bohm hitting fourth, and it's like, that's not a four. If Alec Bohm's playing third base and he's getting you, 35 doubles a year and maybe 20 home runs and knocking in 75, that's great for me at the 6 hole.
Sure.
Or something like that, but not at the 4 hole, because I think he feels it at the 4 hole also. Now, last year at the end of the season, once the shoulder got righted, he really was hitting the ball the opposite way and really looked good. And that's the player he is, a gap player, a doubles hitter. That's what he is. Great for a 6 hole hitter.
Bingo.
Then that's not a cleanup guy on a lineup that's going to probably throw out there, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper.
Bingo.
And then I'm not okay with that.
I've said for the last 2 years, really, I think Alec Bohm is a great 6 hole hitter on a really good team.
Yeah.
And if he's batting fourth, I just don't see where that production comes from, because he really hasn't. Yes, he's come through with runners in scoring position occasionally, and the numbers back that up. But in my opinion, he can't be your 4 hole hitter going into 2026.
No, totally agree with you.
It just can't happen.
Yeah.
Is there any other comments because like I said a whole lot, but didn't really say a lot.
Bryce Harper was brought up about the treatment the procedure that he had.
That's right.
EBOO.
With Rob Thomson.
With Rob Thomson. Thomson said, look, it was an elective procedure that he had done. I'm paraphrasing. I think he said something to the effect of, we didn't know he was doing it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And
we didn't talk to Bryce about it.
Right. And he said, I don't know anything about it, meaning he doesn't know about the procedure.
Bingo.
So, he had it done. They weren't bothered by it or anything like that. That was one thing that was brought up.
Rule 5 drafts.
Rule 5 drafts was brought up, which they haven't been very successful in over the years.
They've not.
Try again was basically what Dave Dombrowski said.
Bingo. The last pick that they've had in the Rule 5 drafts has come in 2016 that they've kept. They made a draft pick last year. They ended up trading him to the Mets 30 minutes after they selected him. But so right now, the Phillies have 33 players on their 40-man.
Yeah.
There's 7 spots open.
That's kind of funny.
And Dave said...
They've asked you to bring a glove next
He did.
Spring training.
He said if we roll up to spring training with 33 guys, he might ask some of us writers to get out there. Now, I don't really have that arm strength in me anymore.
I'll say my playing career's over. Yeah.
I think mine is too. But I think, and he referenced that there's going to be some fringe guys, some guys that are in AAA that might not have options, that they're going to look to fill the roster with in the next few months. But with the Rule 5 draft, in terms of, he said that there's some guys that they have their eyes on, but where they're selecting, those guys might not end
probably
up there.
Be going already.
Bingo. Yeah. So we'll see what the Phillies do on Wednesday at that Rule 5 draft. I believe it's at 2:00 on Wednesday afternoon here down in Orlando at the winter meetings. But then he was asked, are you afraid of losing some guys? And he said, yeah, occasionally, but I don't think he was stressed too much about it.
No, it didn't look stressed at all.
It's not guys it's not like a Gabriel Rincones. It's not any of those, in my opinion, upper to middle tier guys that they like in their farm system that could get selected. So he didn't seem too worried about that, but it's always interesting with the Rule 5 draft.
Yeah. A couple other things real quick. Rob Thomson was asked about Nick Castellanos. He said he has not reached out to him, and he said, look, what Nick wants to do is play every day. He goes, and I am not going to dog a guy that wants to play every day.
Yep.
That's just what it is. But sometimes things are better when you just find greener pastures, and that's probably what's going to happen with Nick. It's just time to move on. This is not Rob Thomson saying, this is me. It's just time for them to part ways, and that looks like what they're going to do.
And I love it. I saw Preston Mattingly went on Sirius XM radio. We heard Dave say it on Monday. We heard Rob say it on Tuesday during his little press conference. A change of scenery.
Yeah, exactly.
All three of them have said it.
Yeah,
most likely going to happen. And I think if they don't find a trade partner, I think maybe by the end of January, maybe a few weeks out before pitchers and catchers report to Clearwater for spring training, I think they could just release him. I really do think
he's not coming back.
I don't think he is, man.
No.
And the sense that we've got talking to them and even hearing Dave and Rob on their end of season press conference, I think it's pretty much inevitable at this point.
No question.
Another fun thing, that's a great point, was so right before Rob in his press conference today, they had John Schneider on the at the podium, the Blue Jays manager, and right towards the end of it, as we were getting set up, we heard John kind of allude to, hey, he was asked, how big of a loss is Don Mattingly? And what did he say? He said
he just was like, well, it's great that he's going to go be with his son,
right.
Preston, and he knows Rob very well from his years with the Yankees. Like, it's just a foregone conclusion that Don Mattingly is going to be the bench coach of the Philadelphia Phillies.
It sounds like John knows too.
Yeah,
like
he does. Like he said his goodbye and good luck, and I hope the Phillies have a good season. It seemed like
bingo.
So it's kind of a foregone conclusion, and it'll. I just think that they gave Don Mattingly the respect of, hey, when you're ready, let us know, and maybe Mattingly's just not ready yet.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Last thing as we land the plane here and wrap up, two names. Obviously, the big name that is continued to be out here is Ketel Marte. It sounds like the Phillies are still interested, but Ken Rosenthal came out with a morning article that said Diamondbacks are going to want a superstar package in return because of a team-friendly contract and really his production on the field and at the plate. A superstar level deal with the Phillies, I don't know what that entails. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either. I mean, I don't think you're saying goodbye to a Bryce Harper or a Trey Turner.
Right.
I don't think you sign JT Realmuto just to include him in something, which would be no. Aaron
Nola, I think, is off the market.
Yeah, and that's no offense to Aaron Nola. That's not superstar level anymore. I think the Phillies are pretty much out.
I wonder, and it could be like a Bohm and or Stott mixed in with some high-ranking prospects like Justin Crawford, like Andrew Painter, because the Diamondbacks are in need of pitching.
But none of that rings superstar package.
And it sounds like right now, right before we sat down at 6:40 here on Tuesday evening, it sounds like the Red Sox are really the main strong candidate to get Ketel Marte. And because with what they have available to trade, Jarren Duran, and they have a bunch of other players, especially in their farm system. It sounds like the Red Sox could end up with Ketel Marte, but we could see. Now, last thing before we wrap up, another name that got brought up today is National starter MacKenzie Gore. Supposedly, the Phillies have checked in with the Nationals.
Well, they saw a good Gore, didn't they?
They did. They did. The opening day started the last 2 years for the Washington Nationals, having a great season. He has battled injuries even going back to 2018. But a name like MacKenzie Gore, can you imagine? So Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, MacKenzie Gore.
I like that. Andrew Painter in the mix. Yeah, bingo. Exactly. So Gore's interesting. When I saw that name, all I could think of was I was at the game. I believe he had 14 strikeouts against the Phillies, something like that.
With the Shadows.
And has good success against the Phillies. Always looks good there. So maybe there's a Citizens Park, Bank Park thing that he likes. Lively arm, very lively arm. That would be that. That's something that makes you sit up in your seat and go, oh, okay. All right. What do you got going on here?
Bingo.
So, but again. We'll see. We'll see how the week plays out, and hopefully we'll have some more answers tomorrow.
I would love MacKenzie Gore to throw in that rotation. Now, I don't know if you're the Nationals, what you'd be willing to offer up for MacKenzie Gore. Would it be, like a Dante Nori, a Griffin Burkholder, some of these top prospects of the Phillies, or could they want a guy like Alec Bohm? I don't necessarily think the Phillies would throw in Alec Bohm for MacKenzie Gore. I don't think that really equals to a lot, but prospects galore. I think the Nationals, who are a young team, kind of building up those prospects. They got Harry Ford from the Mariners, who's really the top catching prospect in all of baseball. Who knows? But I would love MacKenzie Gore.
Yeah, that would be cool. It seems like any move that the Phillies make just is going to preclude another move.
Right.
To me,
always.
It doesn't seem like, they're going to make that move. Oh no, I don't think that's going to be done. Then it's going to be another. Then it's going to be another. So.
As to why.
Yep.
Keep an eye out. You heard it here first on Phillies Talk podcast. I think JT Realmuto, don't get that twisted. I think JT Realmuto signs with the Philadelphia Phillies on Wednesday afternoon. We'll see. But another fun, eventful day. I'm wiped, man.
All right.
It's been day 3. And
I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get it done.
We do have some beers to drink here. We watched our Philadelphia Eagles last night. On Monday night, just not look great, but we still enjoyed ourselves.
We did. Enjoyed ourselves. Yeah, so fun is the best thing to have. Don't forget that.
Always, Spence. Man. Always. And always with you, man. It's always been fun. It's been fun. Hey, real quick, get well to Sean Kane, our co-host of the Phillies Talk podcast. Feeling a little under weather, Sean. We're thinking about you, man. Hopefully all is well. Your guy, Pat Murphy, I asked him to send you a little message. He did not, though. So if you're a listener, Sean's a big Pat Murphy guy. But Anywho, we're landing the plane. That's Bob Cooney. I'm Spencer McKercher down here in the winter meetings in Orlando. Day 2, a little more productive than day 1 and on Sunday, but we'll see what the Phillies have in store for the rest of the week. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.